So Jorgen, another pillar is providing return to work support for people when they need it. Can you tell me a little bit about what that might look like on site?
It's a really hard one, but it's a really important one. And a lot of the ways, if we don't do this well, we perhaps undermine a whole heap of other things we're doing. Particularly in an industry where we tend to be project-based in our employment, so we start working ourselves, so there's not a lot of job security. So we then overlay that with a level of stigma around mental health, and so people can be really reluctant to come forward and seek help early because they think it might be detrimental to their employment. So to underpin the whole thing, it's really important for businesses to have a very clear return to work policy and process that actually shows me as a worker that if I'm struggling a little bit, that's not detrimental. Actually, I can see other people coming back to work. I can see people who have recovered from mental ill health and are back and working with me.
And supported by
doing it. What do we get out of that as a business? Well, if we don't do this well, a lot of the other things we're doing is going to be undermined in the first place. The other part of that is that if I as a worker see that you support me and other people struggling, you're actually the type of guy I want to work for.
Absolutely.
And that gives us loyalty. And it means that even though that we have people for stints, because we all know that that's part of the industry, we work from project to project, it also means that when I might be working for this employer over here and there's a job coming, I'll come back because that's actually where somebody did something for me. So
there's a great culture.
There's a good culture, yeah. People go for that.
Absolutely. So we're now going to hear from Danny O'Reilly from Hutchinson's Builders about how they implement return to work in their business.
Good stuff.
Look, my name's Danny O'Reilly. I'm with Hutchies. I've been with Hutchies 4 odd years now. I've actually been in the industry 50 odd years. I know that's given a bit away. I started in 1968 as a bushy-tailed carpenter, and I've worked on a number of projects in a number of regions and for a number of good companies. Look, our return to work processes, they get enacted after physical injuries, and also when people are demonstrating issues with mental injuries or mental health as well. The big thing about it is that we need to find a way to communicate with that person. One of the setbacks can be if we barge in, we're not necessarily going to assist that person. If they're in a vulnerable state, we might actually be detrimental. So we're very cautious and conscious of that potential, and therefore we look for the people who may be able to best connect with our injured party, and that might be myself, it might be their supervisor, it might be a part of one of their work crew. Once we establish that line of connection, then we can filter the information to the relevant party about who they need to talk to or who can assist them, and eventually it'll come to their supervisor, myself and the team leader, and then we can work a strategy. We would then get our return to work coordinator involved, but also we get mates in construction involved and take advice from them and have them have the confidential discussions and conversations with that party. We act on their recommendations after that. Return to work after a mental illness event is also people are also extremely vulnerable as well. So where we can, we'll not necessarily overtly brief the work site, but we'll brief the management and supervisors and their team supervisors if they're not if they're a subcontractor, one of our subcontractor families. So to be aware of and what to be conscious of and how to behave in those situations without ostracising the fellow or treating them like they've got a communicable disease. We need to reintegrate them into the workplace as best and as effectively as we can. Years ago, in any industry, not only the building industry, but any industry, if you were to demonstrate signs of mental strength, it was seen as a weakness in yourself. It wasn't seen as an illness that could be treated. I'm really proud that the industry and that our company Hutchie is investing in this return to work for mental health issues. Developing a plan for return to work for mental health, there's no real pro forma for that. It's based on each individual situation, each individual's position in the workplace, and the extent to which they've been affected and are still affected when they're coming back into the workforce. So, I'd like to say, here's sheet A, and start filling in line A, line B. It's not that easy. We rely on expert advice from the medical professionals that are involved, from mates, from our return to work coordinator, and also integrate that with the workers' supervisors and the site management. So that's about as close as I can get to saying how we deal with it. There's no one performer. That process needs to be flexible and dynamic to suit the individual and their requirements.